Welcome to Chasing Pelagics. Today we will be looking at the all-new Parker 2420 SC. This is the new boat that came from its predecessor, the Parker 2320. I want to be clear that this is not a sponsored video and that this is our own opinion based on our own experience checking out this fine vessel. So let's start by looking at some of the numbers here right off the Parker website. You can see the length has now increased to 24'2" of the hull. The length overall is very similar to the previous model, being at 28.9. This model no longer has a bow pulpit, and the fuel capacity very similar, 140 gallons. But however, the max horsepower has been increased to 400, which allows you to have twins instead of a single engine, which is going to help us out a lot with fuel efficiency. The dead rise remains the same at 21 degrees, and now let's start checking out this boat. So this vessel was on display over at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show. I'd like to thank Kyle Meza over at West Coast Marine for taking the time to answer some of my questions. And it was really nice to compare this new vessel side by side with the 2320 as well. We're going to go through, show you some of the highlights of the stuff that was new and some of the stuff that we liked, some of the stuff that we didn't like. And we'd really like to hear your comments below, see if you agree with us. Like the 2320, the transom very similar. Big box for storage, live well, pressurized live well, much appreciated from the stick. New folding rear seat, new scupper design. We now have in-floor fish boxes on both sides of the boat that do drain overboard. Now this boat was already fitted with an aftermarket bait tank, so normally there'd be a little bit more room on the deck, but us West Coast guys will definitely be utilizing an 80-gallon tank very similar to that. Inside the cabin, a lot more space, no more carpet. Nice finished fiberglass surfaces. We now have a step down into the cabin, and there's a lot more headroom there than on previous models. Some storage under there. There's storage underneath the seat as well, so no more bench seat. We just have a side-facing seat and then a forward-facing captain's chair, which your passengers will appreciate if you ever rode on the passenger seat of a 2320. Sitting forward on that side is much more nicer on this model. Now moving forward to the bunk, it's a little bit shorter than the 2320. The widening under the dash was very well put together. That bulkhead is now the storage container for the anchor. It's been pushed back a little bit so that bed is shortened up. I'm 6 foot, and I can tell you that there's plenty of headroom in here, plenty of room to slide your chair back. You don't feel pressed against anything. Laying down, you can tell I'm 6 foot. My foot is right at the base of the passenger helm chair, and my head is against that bulkhead. So the bed has definitely got shorter, something to think about if you really spend a lot of time down there. But storage underneath everything, a lot bigger. Same with the front, with real lids that pop up where you can actually get something in here. They're not those pre-made plastic ones that were cut into the floor, such as the previous model. There's a cover that goes over that toilet as well, so you make your bed a little bit bigger. Little bit of sea deck in there, keep stuff from rattling around, making noise. But overall, not much brighter cabin. You do see some space up there as well if you want to mount some electronics above the helm and the ceiling. There isn't that passageway that was in the previous model that kind of went through the center, so I have to look more into that, how to get stuff up there. But overall, much more light and bright feel inside the cabin, a lot of room, and really enjoyed it. The windows, however, very much the same as the previous one. They're not that finished aluminum. They're like a painted silver, maybe even galvanized finished. I think we could have a little bit of update there, but as far as vision out the front and side windows remains pretty much the same as the 2320. The roof offers room for outriggers and a little bit better reaching ability to those high mounted rod holders there as well. Nice smooth finish up there. Now, I really enjoy the new scuppers. As you can tell, they're not like the old ones that came out the back that seamlessly always fill up with water. They're mounted much higher above the water line, and if you remember the old flaps on the older version, they didn't really help you very much, but much improved. New anchor locker, so no bow pulpit. It's recessed below the deck. Plenty of room in there. Keep lots of road and chain. The bilge is very clean, well organized. Hoping for a little bit more room for more batteries than just two, but overall thought out and well placed. Diving into the Yamaha Performance Bulletin here for the Twin 200s. I think this is the most impressive part of this vessel. Cruising at 3,000 RPM, 2.91 miles per gallon. Now, I know not everyone likes to cruise 25. I like to ride a little faster, 35-ish when the seas allow me, but you're still looking, between 2.27 and 2.71 cruising speed, miles per gallon. This is a very significant improvement over the previous model. And top speed, which is irrelevant, but 57.3 miles per hour and still getting 1.38 miles per gallon. These are some pretty impressive numbers. I think a lot of it has to do with having twins. Parker seems to be way more fuel efficient with twins. I don't know if it's just the prop bite in the water being more efficient, but it seems to have shown with the 2520 and the 2820 as well. But overall, this is the most impressive part of this vessel. Let's talk about some of the big improvements over the 2320. First, fuel efficiency, most important. Very impressive numbers here with the Twin 200s. The storage inside and out, way more. Accessible hatches also as well. The ones on the deck are all fiberglass form-out, no more of the plastic ones. I really like the new side scupper and deck drainage design. There's actually gutters in the deck now if you pay attention to it. So even if water does come through the scupper, it's not going to get the entire deck wet. Much improved. The headroom going into the cabin, huge improvement. I whacked my head on the 2320 multiple times. You step down, a lot more headroom inside as well, almost 5 more inches than the previous model. The seat deck on the floor is also really nice. If you've ever slipped your toes inside and ran it into below the helm, I've definitely broken a couple toes. And no more carpet. I know, light, bright interior, very well placed, and a big improvement, especially the seating position for the passengers as well, and a proper stereo from Wet Sounds. All right, areas for room for improvement. Now, some of this might seem a little picky, but boats these days aren't exactly cheap. So let's try and point out some of the important stuff. Right here in the bilge, I wanted to see things done 2 clamps with glued hoses. You'll see almost everything is single clamped. You're doing offshore fishing, being way out there on the water, you want to have double clamps on all your fittings that are below the waterline. That's a huge miss for me. Simple fix. Let's step that up. Next, gas hinges for all these fancy, nice fiberglass hatch doors we got for those fish boxes, for the bilge. Really simple addition that would really improve the quality here. Although I really like this new rear seat, the hardware was a little bit too difficult to move and it didn't fold up as easily as I wanted it to. So if you pay attention closely, you'll notice that there's no more rod storage under the gunnels. I don't know if this is just this boat or if it's not an option, but I did not see it. Although I really like the amount of storage under the passenger seat, the little plastic latch actually wouldn't even stay closed. And there's no real good way to access that storage in the very front of the boat there underneath the seat. Not really sure how to get to that area. Again, I love the amount of extra storage in here, but some of these compartments that kind of connect but don't connect, you're just going to lose a bunch of stuff in there. And it really just need to be sealed off from each other to really make it more efficient. On the helm, I was really hoping for an upgrade to the new style Blue Sea switches like what everyone else is using. It just really cleans up the area and brings a lot more space for more screens. And the last one I really noticed was just the spacing of the bow rails when it comes to the tip. I think they could have had a little bit better placement so it doesn't look so funny compared to the other models. But other than that, overall, really great boat. Looking forward to seeing some of these out in the water and taking a ride soon. And yeah, let us know what you think.